The Alpha was dying.
The only person who could save him didn't have a wolf. Briar Thornfield had spent 18 years proving a wolfless blacksmith could matter. 18 years of fire and steel and never running with the pack. She'd built her worth hammer-stroke by hammer-stroke. Nobody noticed. Then Alpha Rhys Ashford collapsed during a shift, silver curse lines splitting his wolf form apart. Every healer failed, every elder, every remedy. The curse was bound in silver, metal that burned every wolf who touched it. Metal that needed to be forged by someone the curse couldn't reach. Someone without a wolf. She had 21 days, a forge built by her dead father, and hands that had never touched a living curse. The Alpha's wolf wanted her, for reasons she couldn't feel and he couldn't explain. She was the wrong woman for a mate. She was the only woman for the cure. And the clock was already ticking. Chapter 1. The Forge and the Curse. Dawn, day 1 of 21. Briar's forge had been cold for 2 hours. First time in 6 years you hadn't lit it by sunrise. Because a beta named Callum knocked on her door at 4 a.m. with a face like a funeral and 2 words she didn't expect. The Alpha needs a blacksmith. She'd stared at him. It's 4 a.m. I know. I'm a blacksmith, not a healer. Every healer has failed. The curse is silver-bound. You're the only one who can touch it. Silver-bound. That changed things. Silver burned wolves on contact. Their healers couldn't examine it, couldn't work with it, couldn't even get close without their wolves screaming in protest. But Briar didn't have a wolf. Silver was just metal. And metal was her language. Which curse? The Alpha's. She'd heard the rumors. 3 years of whispers about Rhys Ashford and the cursed artifact from the deep mines. She'd assumed the pack healers had it managed. Assumed it was political theater. Alpha's exaggerating weakness for sympathy. How bad? Callum's jaw worked. Bad enough that I'm at your door at 4 a.m. The Alpha's quarters smelled wrong. Ozone and hot metal. Sharp, like a forge fire burning the wrong fuel. 3 healers stood against the far wall looking defeated. Marin, the pack's head healer, met Briar's eyes first. Thank you for coming. Don't thank me yet. I haven't seen it. She saw it. Rhys Ashford lay on a cot, shirtless, and silver lines crawled beneath his skin like veins of liquid metal. Spreading. Alive. Wrong in a way that made her hands itch for tools. Not infection. Not disease. Bad solder in a cracked joint. She knew this. Not the curse, the pattern. Metal that had bonded incorrectly and was fighting its host. How long? Marin stepped closer. 3 years. But the spreading. That's new. 2 months. Accelerating. And you tried everything. Herb packs, moon rituals, extraction by 3 different elder healers. The silver fights back, burns anyone with a wolf who touches it. Good thing I don't have one. Silence. The healers shifted, uncomfortable. She knew that silence. The wolfless woman in the room saying the thing nobody wanted to acknowledge. She moved to the cot. Rhys's eyes were closed. She could see the silver lines tracking up his forearms, across his chest, reaching toward his throat. Alive, pulsing faintly. She touched him, fingers on his forearm. Professional, clinical, tracing the silver lines, feeling the way the cursed metal sat under skin. It was warm, warmer than it should be. The silver hummed against her fingertips, vibrating at a frequency she recognized from the forge. Metal under stress. Metal that wanted to move, but couldn't. something changed. She didn't feel it. She had no wolf to feel things with. But the room felt it. Marin's sharp intake of breath. Callum stepping forward. The three healers straightening against the wall. Something in Rhys went still. Not calm. Still. Like a held breath. Like a furnace flame suddenly, impossibly steady. His eyes opened. Gold brown. Silver flecks that shouldn't be there. Curse marks in his irises. He looked at her. Not past her. Not through her. At her. First time in 18 years an Alpha had looked at Briar Thornfield and actually seen her. Can you fix it? Direct. No titles, no political dance. I don't know. I've never worked cursed metal in living flesh. But you can touch it. I can touch any silver. I don't have a wolf to burn. A muscle in his jaw. How long do you need? She looked at the silver lines again, spreading, moving, hungry. How long do I have? Marin answered. 3 weeks, maybe less. The next full moon. Will force a shift, Briar finished. She knew that much about wolves. And the shift will kill him. Marin's voice, flat, certain. The silver is in his wolf. When he shifts, the curse tears him apart from inside. Briar pulled her hand back, stood straight. So, a forge problem. Everyone stared. This isn't a healing problem. It's a forging problem. The silver is set wrong, like a bad weld. It needs to be reworked or extracted. And I'm the only one who can touch it without dying. Nobody spoke. I'll need access to his quarters twice daily for examination. I'll need cursed silver samples from the deep mines. And I'll need everyone to stay out of my forge unless I invite them. You'll have it. All of it. Rhys, still watching her with those silver-flecked eyes. Nobody's ever described my dying as a forge problem before. Nobody else has my hands. She left. The corridor air hit her. Cold mountain morning. Coal smoke from distant forges. Her hands were shaking, not from fear. From the feel of that silver under his skin. Living, moving, fighting her touch. And underneath, warmth. His skin had been furnace hot where the curse lines ran. Fever. She told herself that. Fever. She was halfway to the forge when Marin caught her. There's something I couldn't say in front of him. Briar stopped, turned. Marin's face was grey. The curse. It's not contained to him anymore. 2 warriors felt pain during their last shift. Silver burn pain. It's spreading. Through the pack bond. If it reaches the whole pack, then it won't be one Alpha dying. Briar's voice sounded steadier than she felt. It'll be every wolf in Iron Hollow. 21 days, Briar, to save them all. The corridor smelled like ozone and fear. Her hands were steady now. Her heartbeat was not. 21 days. A forge she'd built from her dead father's tools. And a curse that was eating an entire pack alive. She lit the forge at dawn. First time in 6 years, she was late. Last time she'd be late for anything. Chapter 2. Silver and Steel. Day 3. The forge was alive, furnace roaring, tools laid out in her father's order. Tongs to the left, hammers ranked by weight, quenching bucket filled fresh every morning. Routine, muscle memory. The one place in the world where Briar Thornfield knew exactly who she was. The cursed silver ore sat on the anvil, extracted from the deep mines, same vein that cursed Rhys. She'd been hammering it for 4 hours. It wouldn't yield. "Work with me." The silver sparked, resisted. Threw heat wrong, too much one direction, cold the other. Like the metal was alive and angry. She adjusted the angle, changed hammers. Softer head, less force. Coaxed instead of commanded. The silver screamed, high-pitched, wrong. The ore shattered her best chisel, her father's chisel, the one she'd never replaced because nothing she made was good enough. Pieces on the floor. Carbon steel. 30 years old. Gone. That was my father's. Silence. Just the forge fire. Just her breathing. She sat on the floor. 16 hours of work. Nothing to show but broken tools and a cursed piece of silver that wouldn't listen to 3 generations of Thornfield forge knowledge. The door opened behind her. She didn't turn. Knew the footsteps by now. 3 days was enough. Heavy. Measured. The stride of a man who owned every room he entered. "You're early." "You're on the floor." She stood, wiped her hands on her apron. Artistic process. Looked more like defeat. Observation. Sit. Shirt off. Don't move. Rhys sat on the forge bench, pulled the shirt over his head. The silver lines had spread another centimeter since yesterday. She could see new branches reaching along his collarbone. She touched him, fingers tracing the new growth. Clinical, precise. His skin burned where she touched. Not the curse, something underneath. Warmer than yesterday. Warmer than fever should account for. She noted it, wrote it down. Inflammation, she told herself. It wasn't inflammation. The spreadings accelerated. She traced a silver line from his shoulder to his wrist. 0.5 centimeter a day, 3 days ago. Full centimeter now. Good news? It responds to my touch, slows when I'm in direct contact, doesn't fight me the way it fights your healers. Bad news? I can't keep my hands on you 24 hours a day. Silence. Too long. She replayed what she'd said. Kept her eyes on his forearm. Didn't look up. The ore won't yield, she continued. Faster, safer ground. 3 generations of forge technique and the cursed silver laughs at all of it. I need a different approach. What approach? I don't know yet, which is why I was on the floor. He should have left. Examination done, data collected. Instead, he stayed. Tell me about the silver, what it's doing that you don't expect. She looked at him. Most wolves didn't ask her about metallurgy. Most wolves didn't ask her about anything. It fights wolf-touched tools. Every hammer, every tong in this forge has been handled by wolves over the years. The silver attacks the wolf trace in the metal. But not your hands. My hands have never carried a wolf. The silver has nothing to fight. He was quiet, watching her the way she watched steel, looking for fractures. Your father built this forge? Built it, lived in it, died for the people who used it. She picked up a hammer, set it down. Standard Thornfield legacy. You work 16 hours a day. Metal doesn't forge itself. Neither does a person. She didn't know what to do with that. Nobody said things like that to her. Nobody noticed her hours. Nobody noticed her at all. I'll eat when the cursed silver cooperates. It's been 4 hours since sunrise. You haven't eaten. I've been busy. With my dying, which I'd prefer didn't also kill you. She looked at him. Really looked. The silver lines catching forge light. The gold brown eyes watching her, with an intensity that had nothing to do with his cure. "I'll eat." "When?" "Eventually." "Briar." Her name, not Blacksmith, not Thornfield, not the Wolfless one. The way he said it made it sound like something worth saying. "After I finish the examination." His mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Deal." He stayed for another hour, watched her work, asked questions about the cursed ore, its crystalline structure, its resistance patterns, the frequency of its vibrations under heat. He asked the way someone asks who actually wants to understand, not performing interest, genuinely curious. She talked, more than she'd talked to anyone in months. Forge talk, metal talk, the only language she was fluent in. Her hands moved when she explained, showing him grain patterns in the air, demonstrating hammer angles with an invisible tool. He watched her hands. She caught his scent. It happened between one sentence and the next. She was explaining quenching temperatures and then pine resin, warm amber, like sun on dark wood. Not the ozone sharp of the curse. Him, underneath. She stopped mid-sentence, blinked. "You were saying about the quenching." "Right, yes, the..." She picked up a tool he'd handled earlier, his scent on the grip, pine and forge smoke. She held it for a beat too long. "The temperature variance is..." Set it down. Different tool. "Significant." He left when the light changed. Afternoon. She walked him to the door because that was polite, not because she wanted 3 more minutes of conversation. Not because of that. Late night. She hadn't eaten since the apple she'd grabbed mid-afternoon. A plate appeared at the forge door. Warm bread, smoked meat, a second apple. No note. She assumed Marin. Ate standing at the anvil, staring at the cursed ore, trying to understand why it fought her. In the Alpha's quarters, Rhys flexed his hands. The curse pain was worse tonight, but where she'd touched, his forearm, his shoulder, his collarbone, the skin remembered warmth. Morning. She found the empty plate, washed, returned with a note she didn't recognize. "Eat. The cure won't forge itself if you collapse." She stared at it, looked toward the Alpha's quarters across the compound, morning light catching movement in his window. He was watching the forge, not the sunrise. She told herself he was monitoring his investment, told herself it was about the cure, the warmth in her chest, the furnace at her back. The furnace wasn't lit yet. Chapter 3. The Pack Decides. Day 5. The Pack Council chamber smelled like old wood and dominance. Briar wasn't there. She wasn't invited. She was at the forge, hammering a new approach, folding technique, layering cursed silver with clean iron. Across the compound, wolves were deciding her future without her. Rhys sat at the head of the council table. He could hear her. Not the forge. He could always hear the forge. Her heartbeat. Steady. Hammer rhythmic. Strong. He'd never tracked a specific human heartbeat before. His wolf knew exactly where she was. Working. Alive. "The Wolfless smith is our only option." Elder Torval leaned forward, silver-bearded, traditional. "A wolfless woman working alpha-level curse magic. With respect, this is unprecedented. The curse is unprecedented. She can't even feel the pack bond. How will she know if the cure is working?" Callum spoke from Rhys's right. She'll know because the silver lines will recede. She doesn't need a pack bond for that. She needs eyes and hands. She has both. Unquestioning competence, not courage. Perhaps someone with more experience? The room shifted. Serafina, back of the chamber. She hadn't spoken until now. When she did, her voice was warm honey over cold steel. I only worry about the burden on that poor girl. All that pressure, all those expectations, on someone so limited. She didn't say wolfless like it was an insult. She said it like it was a terminal diagnosis. Worse. The elders nodded, 3 of them, agreeing with the woman who'd been Luna for 20 years. Rhys's wolf bristled, not at his mother, at the threat hidden in polished words. She stays. She works. Anyone who interferes with her process answers to me. Are we clear? Silence. Crystal, darling. Serafina smiled, warm, perfect. The kind of smile that made you forget what she'd just said. Rhys didn't forget. At the forge, Briar made a discovery. The cursed silver didn't fight clean iron. It fought wolf-touched metal. Every tool that had been handled by wolves carried a trace. Faint, invisible, but the cursed silver sensed it, attacked it. Her tools, never touched by wolves, neutral. That's it. That's the resistance pattern. She needed virgin iron, untouched by any wolf hand. Deep mine ore, never processed through the pack's standard forge, which meant going down herself, into the deep shafts where wolves couldn't go because of the silver, where her father had gone every day, where her father had died. Right. She listed what she needed: virgin iron, specific vein, her father's old tunnel. Her hands didn't shake. She didn't let them. Late afternoon, the forge door opened. No knock. You must be so tired, dear. Serafina, smiling, carrying a tray. I brought tea, and those little cakes from the kitchen. I remember your father loved them. Briar stared at her. The former Luna stood in her doorway like she belonged everywhere. Elegant, controlled. Her silver-streaked hair perfect despite the forge heat. I don't drink tea. Everyone drinks tea when they're working this hard. Serafina set the tray down, uninvited. Tell me, how is the progress? It's progressing. Specifically? Briar looked at her. Should have felt suspicious. Didn't. This was the Alpha's mother, a woman who'd been Luna for 2 decades, who brought tea and remembered her father's favorite cakes. The silver fights wolf-touched tools. I need virgin iron from the deep mines. Uncontaminated material. Once I have clean stock, I can start forging a prototype. Fascinating. Serafina's eyes catalogued every word. The deep mines. Alone? Wolves can't go down there. Silver in the walls. So yes, alone. How brave. Her smile didn't waver. Your father would be proud. Something in Briar's chest. She ignored it. I need to get back to work. Of course, dear, of course. Serafina turned to leave, paused at the door. If you need anything at all, I'm right here. The door closed. Briar stared at the tray. Untouched tea. Perfect little cakes. Strange woman. Nice enough. Night. Torch in hand. The deep mine entrance gaped like a mouth. Her father's tunnel. The one that collapsed and killed him when she was 16. She hadn't been down here in 18 years. The air was thick. Mineral dust. Memory. She found the vein. Pure iron, untouched. Started chipping with tools her father had left mounted on the wall. Still sharp. He'd maintained everything. The tunnel groaned around her. Rock settling. Normal. Above, at the shaft entrance, Serafina watched the torchlight descend. Not following. Just watching. Noting. Planning. Her eyes caught the torchlight. Gold. Cold. She smiled and walked back toward the compound. 20 feet underground, Briar chipped iron from the vein her father had mapped. The walls creaked. The torch flickered. She didn't hear Serafina's footsteps above. She didn't hear anything except iron ringing against stone, the sound her father had heard every day. The sound he'd been hearing when the tunnel fell. She kept mining. Steady hands, steady breath. 16 days left. Chapter 4. Sparks. Day 8. The virgin iron was different. Briar could feel it under the hammer, alive in a way wolf-touched metal wasn't. Clean, eager. When she brought it near the cursed silver sample, the silver didn't fight, didn't yield either. It listened. First time in 8 days, the metal negotiated instead of attacked. She'd been at the anvil for 12 hours, arms shaking, vision doubling. But the metal was talking, and she wouldn't stop until she understood every word. The forge door opened. Briar Thornfield? Not Rhys. Different voice. Young. Confident. A smith from an allied pack. Garrett, sent to observe the cure progress. He entered her forge like he owned it. Touched her tools. Examined her work. Impressive setup. Your folding technique on the virgin iron. That's old school. Your father's method? Mine. Adapted from his. He leaned closer, his hand on her arm, pointing at a weld joint. Professional. Warm. This joint here. You're getting the cursed silver to bond with clean iron? That's remarkable. It's responsive but not cooperative, like training a stubborn... The sound came from the doorway. Low, involuntary, deep enough to vibrate in her ribs. Rhys. The growl hadn't stopped. It was getting worse. The curse amplifying it, making it rawer, more animal than an alpha's territorial display should be. He was between them before she registered the movement. Massive body blocking Garrett completely. Garrett backed up, fast. He was a wolf. He knew what that sound meant. Briar was not a wolf. Did you just growl at my colleague? No. I heard you. Everyone heard you. She stepped around him, nostrils flaring. This is my forge. He's examining my work, on your orders. He was what? Being professional? Having hands? Existing near me? Rhys's jaw worked, spine stiff. He couldn't explain it because there was no rational explanation. His wolf had seen a foreign male touching what was... No, not his. She wasn't his. His wolf violently disagreed. Get out of my forge before I use the tongs on you. He left. Garrett had already disappeared. She went back to work, furious, distracted. The virgin iron was at perfect temperature, golden orange, singing with readiness. She swung the hammer. Too hard, wrong angle. 12 hours of precise work, and she let anger into the forge. The piece warped. Catastrophically. like watching a promise break in slow motion. No. No, no, no. She grabbed the tongs, lunged for the piece before it cooled wrong. The move threw her off balance. The furnace, open, roaring, right there. Hands on her waist, massive, careful, pulling her back. She hadn't heard him come back. His hands burned where they touched. Not curse heat, not forge heat. Something unnamed. Her back against his chest. His heartbeat hammering against her spine. 3 seconds. 5. Are you hurt? His voice, close, raw, stripped of alpha composure. I'm fine. He didn't let go. Not immediately. You haven't eaten today. Stop monitoring my meals. She pulled away. His hands released her like she was made of something breakable. I'm your blacksmith, not your... She stopped. Couldn't find the word. Didn't want to find the word. Not your what? Nothing. She picked up the warped piece, examined the damage. 8 hours of work, gone. Because she'd let his ridiculous growl into her ridiculous head. The prototype is ruined. I need to start over. I'm sorry. She looked at him. For the growl? For all of it. Outside, Callum found his Alpha leaning against the forge wall, staring at nothing. You growled at a visiting smith in front of a wolfless woman who doesn't know what territorial behavior means. I'm aware. She threatened you with tongs. I'm aware of that too. You realize she has no idea what just happened. That's what makes it worse. That night, Briar sat at her anvil, cold forge, dark, the warped iron on the table. Her waist still felt warm. She pressed her own hand there, compared. His hands were enormous. Careful, like handling something precious. She wasn't precious. She was useful. There was a difference. Stop it, she told herself. She didn't specify what to stop. In the Alpha's quarters, Rhys held a shirt that smelled like cedar oil and forge smoke. His wolf was quiet. Not cursed quiet. Content. That was infinitely worse. Chapter 5. The Shift. Day 11. The forge was hot. Briar working the virgin iron into a testing blade. First prototype. She needed to see how cursed silver responded to a specifically shaped instrument. Rhys sat on the forge bench. Daily examination. Shirt off. Silver lines pulsing faintly. She was bent over his forearm, tracing the newest growth, when the lines ignited. Silver fire under his skin. His eyes went wide. His bones started cracking. Rhys! Rhys! She grabbed his arm. Your skin! Get back! No. The shift hit. Right here. In her forge. His wolf erupting against his will. Bones cracking wrong angles. Fur erupting patchy. Shot through with silver streaks that shouldn't be there. The transformation was wrong. Twisted. His massive dark wolf emerged convulsing on the forge floor. Silver lines visible beneath the fur, like veins of poison. Tools scattered. The furnace roared. A wolf the size of a horse thrashing in her workspace. Everything in Briar's body said, run. She grabbed her heaviest tongs, silver safe, her father's, the ones that had never let her down. The wolf convulsed, silver lines blazing. She could hear the curse screaming through the metal. High, wrong, like steel being tortured. A sound she recognized. Metal in pain. She'd spent her life fixing that sound. She stepped toward the wolf, not away. Planted her feet. Forge stance. The same stance she'd held since she was 12 years old, learning to read metal by the color of its heat. Come on. Come on! React to me, like the samples. She pressed the tongs against the worst curse mark on his flank. Contact. The silver shrieked. Audible, real, like a blade being quenched wrong. His wolf shuddered, snarled, then settled, her touch, wolfless, immune, dampening the curse the way cold water calms overheated steel. There, it's responding. The wolf, massive, dark, shaking, turned to her, through the agony, not away. His enormous head pressed against her torso, seeking her warmth, her hands, the only relief from 3 years of constant pain. She stood in a forge with a cursed wolf pressing against her, her hands on his fur, silver lines pulsing under her palms. Easy, I've got you. Softer than she intended, one hand on his fur, the other holding the tongs against the curse mark. The silver dimmed where she touched, receded. Her touch was working, not enough to cure, but working. His wolf held still under her hands, trusting, vulnerable. The most dangerous creature in Iron Hollow, pressing against a wolfless woman like she was the only safe place in the world. He shifted back, shaking, on the forge floor, naked. She grabbed her leather apron, closest thing to a blanket, and wrapped it around his shoulders, knelt beside him, her hands on his shoulders, not clinical, trembling. That was informative. Her voice cracked on the last word. She heard it. He heard it. Is that what you call almost dying? I call it data. She examined his forearm. The silver lines had receded where her tongs made contact, actually retreated. Progress. Real, visible progress. Hold still. You're shaking. I'm cold. We're next to a furnace. I run cold. Briar. Don't. Her voice, smaller than she wanted. Don't say my name like that right now. Like what? Like I just did something that mattered. Silence. Just the forge fire. Just breathing. You did. She didn't answer. Couldn't. She was staring at the receded curse marks, calculating. Her tongs worked. Her touch worked. But tongs weren't precise enough. She needed something purpose-built. A blade. Specifically calibrated to the curse's frequency. Something she could use to trace the silver lines and extract them from living flesh. I need to redesign the entire approach. Callum burst through the door, eyes wide, seeing his Alpha on the floor with the blacksmith. What happened? Involuntary curse shift. I stabilized it. He needs rest, and I need to redesign everything. You stabilized? With tongs, yes. The silver responds to wolfless contact. I need a proper blade. Callum stared, from Briar to Rhys, back to Briar. His eyebrows hit his hairline. She was still kneeling, still holding his shoulders. She hadn't moved. Rhys, eyes on her, said to Callum, she didn't run. 3 words, quiet. The most important thing anyone had said in the forge in years. That night, alone, Briar redesigned everything. Her hands moved across paper, sketching a blade shape, calculating dimensions, mapping the curve against the silver patterns she'd memorized from his skin. Professional. Precise. Except she kept seeing his wolf, turning to her through the agony, pressing against her like she was home. She didn't have a wolf to explain the pull. Wolves didn't seek wolfless people. Not like that. Not pressing against them. Not choosing them through pain. Something was happening that she didn't understand. She shoved it aside, drew another blade design, better angles, cleaner curves. In the Alpha's quarters, Rhys lay awake. The curse marks receded for the first time in 3 years. His wolf was quiet. Not pained quiet, chosen quiet. His wolf knew, had known since day one. Mate. A wolfless blacksmith with calloused hands who calls terror data. Impossible, he whispered. His wolf had never been more sure of anything. Chapter 6. Proof. Day 14. Halfway. Briar's prototype cure blade was taking shape. Virgin iron folded 20 times with her own techniques. Quenched in cold spring water instead of traditional oil. The iron sang differently. Responded to her hands like it knew what it was being made for. She was close. Then the screaming started. Not metal. Human. A boy's voice, cracking between registers. Half child, half wolf. Coming from the compound yard. Briar grabbed her tongs and the prototype blade. She ran. A teenager, barely 16, on the ground in the yard, his shift stuck mid-transformation. One arm furred, face half extended, body convulsing. Silver lines on his skin. The curse, spreading through the pack bond. The thing Marin had warned about. Healers circled, helpless, couldn't touch the silver. His mother screamed his name over and over. Move! Briar. No authority, no rank, no wolf. Just a wolfless woman with forge tongs and a prototype blade, pushing through wolves who outranked her in every way. Give me room, now! They moved. Instinct. The same instinct that made them obey their alpha. Certainty in a voice that left no space for argument. She knelt beside the boy. The silver lines pulsed on his half-shifted skin. She could read the pattern. The curse had entered through the pack bond, rooted in his shift mechanism, locked him between forms. Hey, I'm Briar. I know it hurts. 10 more seconds. It hurts! I know. Hold on. She pressed the prototype blade against the silver. The metal responded, the virgin iron humming against the cursed silver, coaxing, not fighting. She traced the curse lines, drawing the silver out of the boy's shift pattern, the way she'd extract a bad weld from a joint. Slow, precise, every year of forge training focused into this moment. The boy's screams quieted to whimpers. The silver released its grip. His shift completed, fully human. He collapsed into his mother's arms, shaking, crying, whole, alive. Briar stood. Her legs weren't steady, but she stood anyway. The yard was silent. 30 wolves staring at the wolfless woman who'd just done what their healers couldn't. The boy's mother grabbed her hand. You saved him. You saved my boy. Briar didn't know what to do with this. Nobody grabbed her hands. Nobody thanked her like this. Like she'd given them back something irreplaceable. I just extracted silver. It's a technique. It's a miracle. It's metallurgy. Rhys watched from the crowd's edge. Something enormous in his chest. Not the curse. Worse. Better. He could smell her. The fear had been sharp, metallic, cold. Then it changed. Determination replacing terror. Her scent went from ice to forge fire in seconds. He was reading her emotions through smell, like she was metal and he was learning her language. He'd never been more terrified in his life. From the great hall steps, Seraphina watched the wolfless blacksmith accept gratitude she didn't know how to hold. White-faced. The blacksmith was succeeding. That couldn't happen. Night, the forge, low fire, Briar refining the blade, her hands steady again. Everything steady again, except the part of her that kept replaying the boy's mother grabbing her hand. Nobody had ever done that before. The door opened. Rhys, evening examination. He sat on the bench. She checked his curse marks. The silver had actually slowed its spread. The proximity to her forge work was helping. Or the proximity to her. She didn't ask which. You saved that boy. I extracted silver. Same thing I do every day. Not the same thing. She set down her tools. He was screaming. And all I could think was, what if I can't fix this? What if the blade doesn't work and they all... Couldn't finish. You did fix it. This time. He moved closer. Not Alpha close. Not examination close. Close. His face near hers. She could feel his breath. Pine and amber. Briar. One word. Raw. Everything in it. She should have stayed. She knew it then, and she knew it later, lying awake, staring at her ceiling. I should finish this blade. He didn't argue, didn't push, just looked at her. The way you look at something you're memorizing. And left. The forge felt colder without him. She picked up the blade, didn't work on it, not for 20 minutes, just held it. In her quarters, can't sleep, not the curse, not the boy. Him. His breath on her face, pine and amber. The way he said her name, not Blacksmith, not Thornfield. Briar. Like it was the only word that mattered. She pressed her hand against her own chest, heart hammering. What's wrong with me? Nothing. Everything. She didn't have a wolf to explain the pull. She called it respect, proximity, professional attachment. The truth sat on her anvil like hot steel, waiting to be shaped. She wasn't ready to pick it up yet. 7 days left. Chapter 7. The Letters. Day 16. 5 days left. Briar had been working for 31 straight hours, the cure blade taking shape, virgin iron folded 20 times, quenched in spring water. It rang true when she tapped it. Almost. Almost there. Her vision doubled. She blinked it back, kept hammering. Her arms had stopped cooperating hours ago, but her hands still knew the work. Muscle memory deeper than exhaustion. She didn't remember falling asleep. One moment, hammer on steel. Next moment, nothing. Her body simply quit. Head on the anvil, hammer still in her grip. Hot metal cooling on the table. 2 a.m. The pull woke him. Not pain, not the curse. Her. A tug behind his sternum, insistent, warm. His wolf demanding he go to the forge. He'd stopped arguing with it 2 days ago. The forge was dim, fire low. And there she was, collapsed at the anvil like her body had finally won the argument with her stubbornness. 31 hours. He crossed the forge floor, pried the hammer from her grip, finger by finger, because even unconscious, she wouldn't let go. Set it beside her, lifted her. She weighed nothing. Forge lean, work hardened, light in his arms, everything in his chest. Mine. The word detonated through him. Not possession. Promise. She stirred, half opened her eyes. Rhys? Not Alpha, not Ashford. His name. Soft, sleep blurred. His heart stuttered. You fell asleep at the forge. The blade almost... Her eyes closed. Gone. Asleep before she finished the sentence. Her head against his shoulder. Forge soot on her face. Cedar oil in her hair. He carried her to her quarters, laid her down, pulled the blanket over her, put the hammer on her bedside table because she'd want it when she woke. His hands were shaking. Morning, Marin's quarters, tea between them, steam rising. My wolf has chosen. Marin didn't look surprised. I know. I've known for weeks. She's wolfless. The bond can't... The bond doesn't care about protocol, Alpha. It never has.
The shadows gather.
She can't feel it back. She has no wolf to... Then she'll feel it the human way. Slowly. Without magical assistance. Just feelings. Growing. Is that so impossible? Silence. He stared at his tea. If the cure fails, if I die, she won't feel the bond break. She won't. She'll lose someone she cares about. That's grief enough, wolf or not. He didn't answer. Couldn't. Briar woke in her quarters. Clean blanket. Hammer on the bedside table. She didn't remember getting here. The blanket smelled like pine and amber. Oh. She needed forging materials. Marin had mentioned a rare compound in the old storage room near the Great Hall. Pre-processed silver that had been neutralized years ago. The storage room was dusty, cold. Shelves of forgotten things. She found the compound. Found something else. A box. Seraphina's handwriting on the lid. Letters. Dozens of them. Addressed to a dead man. Rhys's father. Years of correspondence that had never been sent. Or had been sent and returned. Briar opened one. Then another. Then couldn't stop. Raw grief. The paper warped from tears. Plans to protect Rhys that started with love and curdled into obsession. The challenge nearly killed him, beloved. I watch him rule the way you did, walking toward danger, absorbing pain for others. I won't lose another Ashford man, whatever it costs. And then, dated 3 years ago, a rival Alpha is planning to challenge Rhys. I found something in the mines, silver cursed. If I bind it to his wolf, his shift becomes unpredictable, terrifying. No one challenges a wolf they can't predict. She placed it. Briar read it 3 times, hands steady, everything else falling apart. She placed the curse on her own son. The materials going missing, the temperature fluctuations, the ingredients that weren't quite right. That wasn't the forge failing. That was Seraphina, sabotaging the cure, keeping Rhys dependent on her management treatments, keeping her son alive, but never cured. Because cured meant vulnerable. Cured meant challengeable. Cured meant he didn't need his mother anymore. She found Callum, slammed the letters on the table between them. Your Alpha's mother cursed him 3 years ago, deliberately. Callum's face cycled through disbelief, anger, grief. That's not. Read the letters, then tell me what's not possible. He read. His face went gray. She cursed him to protect him. She's killing him to protect him. What do? We don't tell Rhys. Not yet. I rebuild the cure with clean materials. Everything she might have touched gets thrown out. New stock. My hands only. And we watch her. And if she... Then we stop her. 5 days, Callum. I need 5 clean days. Outside the window, the moon was waning. 5 days until full. 5 days until the shift that could kill Rhys. Briar's hands were steady. Her rage was forging hot. Good. She worked best angry. Chapter 8. Breaking Point. Day 18. 3 days left. Briar had rebuilt the cure blade from scratch. Clean materials, her hands only. Callum standing guard outside the forge around the clock. The blade was good. The iron sang under her hammer. But something was off. The cursed silver samples didn't respond the way they should. Because she'd been forging a cure for an accident, and the curse wasn't an accident. Deliberate placement required a different metallurgical approach. A mother's desperate binding had different molecular structure than random exposure. She needed to understand the intent behind the curse to break it. Rhys walked in. She saw it before he spoke. The silver lines blazing, brighter than the forge. His face gray, his eyes silver-shot. He made it 3 steps before his knees buckled. "Rhys!" She caught him, both hands on his face. "Rhys, stay with me. Don't you dare shift right now." "I can't control." "Then let me. Hold on. Hold on." The curse cascaded. Silver fire under his skin. 3 days before the full moon, and the silver was impatient, hungry, reaching for his wolf. She held his face, hands on his jaw, his temples, pressing against the silver lines. Her touch dampened them, but they kept surging, like trying to hold back a river with her fingers. "Stay with me. Stay." His eyes found hers, silver-shot, terrified, not of dying. "I can't hurt you. If I shift here, you won't. You don't know that. I know metal, and the metal in you is listening to me. So listen. Don't shift. Stay." The curse peaked, held, then slowly receded, her hands on his face, her touch, wolfless. The silver couldn't fight what didn't carry a wolf. He slumped against her, his head in her hands, both on the forge floor. And the bond hit her. Not through a wolf. She didn't have a wolf. Not through magic or fate or supernatural connection. Through her hands. She felt him. His pain, his fear. Not his wolf's fear, his. 3 years of hiding how bad it was. 3 years of walking into mines and taking damage and telling no one, because an alpha who showed weakness was an alpha who got challenged. She felt his love. For the pack. For the valley. For her. For her. "Oh." Her voice broke. "Oh." She kissed him. Not planned. Not romantic. Desperate. Her mouth on his hands finding her hair. Forge calloused fingers gripping his shirt. Not fate. Not wolf magic. Terrified. He kissed her back, gentle beneath the desperation. His hand on her jaw, thumb tracing her cheekbone. Careful with her, always careful, like she might disappear if he held too tight. After, both shaking, on the forge floor, his head in her lap, her fingers in his hair. Silver Street, curse-touched, the forge fire casting orange light over everything. "I've been having blackouts during shifts." She didn't speak. Let him. "The wolf is becoming erratic. I can't control the change anymore. If the pack finds out..." "How long have you been hiding this?" since it started. An alpha who can't control his shifts is still an alpha, you stubborn, self-destructive. She stopped. My father worked himself to death for wolves who called him the human. He died in those mines thinking he wasn't enough. Her voice shook. Don't you dare do the same thing. His hand found hers, held it. I need to tell you something else. About the blackouts? About my mother. I know. He stiffened. You know? I found letters in the storage room. She placed the curse, Rhys, 3 years ago, to make you unpredictable, to protect you from challengers. Silence. Terrible. Show me. The letters, show me. She did, held his hand while he read, watched his face go blank, then gray, then something worse than anger. Grief. His mother. His own mother. Who brought tea and smiled and called Briar dear and sabotaged every step of the cure. I know what the cure needs now. He looked at her, eyes raw. It's not an accident to extract. It's a deliberate binding. The metallurgy is different. I need 3 days. You have them. And I need her away from this forge. His jaw set, that alpha stillness. You'll have that too. She stood, helped him up, didn't let go of his hand. For the record, he waited. What I felt just now, on the floor, that wasn't... She struggled. Forge vocabulary didn't cover this. I don't have a wolf. I can't blame the bond. I can't blame fate or instinct or... It's just you. Yeah. Her voice cracked. It's just me. Terrified. Loving someone who might die in 3 days. Without a single supernatural excuse. He touched her face. Light. Just fingertips. That's braver than any wolf bond I've ever seen. She turned back to the forge. New approach. New understanding. The curse was placed with a mother's desperate love. It needed to be removed with something stronger. She heated the virgin iron. Started again. This time she knew what she was forging. Not just a blade to cut cursed silver. A blade forged by someone who chose him. Without a wolf. Without fate. With her own 2 hands. The hammer fell. The metal sang. Behind her, Rhys went to face his mother. Alone. Chapter 9. The Cure. Day 21. Full moon night. The forge burned hotter than she'd ever run it. The cure blade lay on the anvil. Finished. Virgin iron folded 40 times. Quenched in spring water under moonlight. It didn't look special. Plain. Dark metal. But when Briar held it, the blade hummed against her palm, responding to her heartbeat, knowing what it was made for. Outside the moon rose, full, bright, pulling at every wolf in the territory. Inside, Rhys sat on the forge bench, shirt off, silver lines pulsing in time with the rising moon. The worst she'd ever seen them. They looked at each other. Before we start, he waited. I choose you. Silence. The forge fire crackled. Not because of a bond. Not because of fate. Not because your wolf decided something I never got a vote in. I choose you, Rhys Ashford. Without a wolf. Without magic. With my own hands and my own stubborn human heart. His eyes were silver-shot, curse-bright. Something broke in his face. The last wall. The last piece of alpha composure. He laughed. It sounded like crying. Yes, ma'am. And when this is over, you're going to eat a full meal, sleep 12 hours. Let someone else walk into the mines first. Anything else? Stop treating yourself like you're expendable. You're not a tool for this pack. You're a person, says the woman who defines herself by usefulness. That's different. No, it really isn't. She stared at him. He stared back. The forge fire between them. We're both idiots. Complete idiots. Ready? Ready. He shifted, voluntarily, chose to enter the form that was killing him. For her, for the pack, for the chance to live. The shift was agonizing, silver lines blazing, bones cracking wrong, then right, fur erupting patchy with silver streaks. But Briar's hands were on him, steady, warm, the cure blade touching the curse marks as he transformed. His wolf surged forward, grateful, terrified. Ready. Massive, dark, silver-veined, trembling under her hands. The most powerful wolf in the territory. Willingly vulnerable. Only for her. I've got you, she began. The cure blade traced the silver curse lines in his wolf form, cutting without cutting flesh, forging in reverse, pulling cursed metal from living bone, the technique she'd spent 21 days perfecting. The silver fought. Every line resisted. It screamed under the blade, that terrible high sound of metal being separated from its host. She felt it. Through whatever connected them, not a wolf bond, something human, something forged from 21 days of proximity and trust. She felt every cut. His pain. Her pain. White hot. Blinding. Her hands didn't shake. They never shook at the forge. Hold the shift. Don't fight me. His wolf held, still, trusting. Hold it. Hold it for me. I'm almost there. Line by line, vein by vein, the cursed silver peeled away under the blade. His wolf shuddered with each extraction. She gritted her teeth and kept working. The last silver line. Deep. The original point of entry. His hands, where he'd first touched the cursed artifact 3 years ago to save a miner. She pressed the blade to the curse's root. The silver fought with everything it had. His wolf convulsed. Her hands burned. Not silver burned. Bond burn. She felt his agony like her own flesh breaking. One more line. One. Don't give up on me. She cut. The curse shattered. Like glass breaking. Like chains snapping. Like a forge fire that should never have been lit, finally, mercifully dying. It's done. It's done. He shifted back. Clean. No silver lines. No pain. The first time in 3 years. His wolf was quiet. Not cursed quiet. Peaceful. He looked at his hands, flexed them, shifted just the fingers, wolf claws extending, smooth, painless. 3 years. Did it work? She was sitting on the forge floor, exhausted, covered in soot and curse residue, the cure blade still in her grip. He knelt beside her, forehead to her forehead, breathing her in. Cedar and smoke and home. Yeah, it worked. Footsteps, the forge door. Callum, Marin, 3 pack warriors. And behind them, Seraphina, white-faced. She saw the clean skin, the absent curse marks, the blade on the anvil. She knew. "What have you done?" Briar stood. Her legs shook, but she stood. "What you should have done 3 years ago." Seraphina's composure cracked, something wild in her eyes. "You don't understand. Without the curse, they'll challenge him. They'll kill him, like they killed his father."
"I was protecting. You were killing him slowly instead of letting him live."
Silence in the forge, the moon above. The curse, finally dead. Tomorrow, the pack meets, and everything changes.
Chapter 10. Forged.
Morning. First dawn without a curse in 3 years. Briar stood at the window of the Alpha's quarters. She could see the forge from here, smoke rising. Someone had lit the furnace for her. She was wearing Rhys's shirt because hers was destroyed by curse residue. It smelled like pine and amber. She didn't pretend it was anything other than what it was. Home. Full pack assembly. The compound yard. Every wolf in Iron Hollow. 3 allied Alpha representatives watching from the edges. Sunlight on mountain stone. Seraphina stood before them. The letters had been read aloud. Callum's voice steady through the worst of it. The sabotage detailed. The timeline confirmed. 3 years of a mother's monstrous love laid bare. The pack's reaction: horror, grief,
Anger at the system that made mothers this desperate. Seraphina didn't deny it, didn't defend.
"I would do it again, to save my son. I would do it every time."
Rhys faced her. His mother. The woman who'd held him as a child, taught him to lead, poisoned him to protect him. "I know you would."
"Rhys."
She reached for him. "That's why you can't stay." Not execution, not exile to the wild. Banishment to her birth territory, the allied pack she came from. Watched over, cared for, but away from the son she'd nearly killed with love.
"You loved me into a curse. I need you to love me enough to let me heal."
Seraphina's face crumbled. Not the polished mask, not the warm honey voice. Just a mother, breaking. She turned, walked through the pack. Nobody stopped her. Nobody needed to. Rhys turned to Briar, in front of the entire pack. Every wolf in Iron Hollow, allied representatives. Morning sun on his face, clean, curse-free, the first unmarked skin he'd worn in 3 years. "This woman saved my life." Briar's lungs froze. Public attention, her least favorite thing. She saved the pack, without a wolf, with her hands. "You don't have to make a speech." He knelt. The Alpha of Iron Hollow, on his knees, before a wolfless blacksmith, with calloused hands and forge burns and no supernatural power whatsoever. "You are the strongest person in this pack." Her breath caught, words stuck. "I don't have a wolf." "I know. You never needed one." She stared down at him. This man, this impossibly stubborn, self-destructive, soft-spoken man who left food at her door and carried her to bed when she collapsed and nearly died in her forge, and never once treated her like she was less. "Get up."
"No."
"Rhys, I'm kneeling. Deal with it." Something broke in her chest. Not sadness, not the old wound.
Something that had been cemented shut at 16 when they told her she'd never have a wolf. Something that had hardened with every year of being invisible. It cracked open. She reached down, took his face in her hands, Forge warm, steady. You're an idiot. You're idiot. Don't push it. But she was smiling, for the first time in years. Really smiling. The claiming. No wolf bite exchange. She had no wolf to offer. Instead, she pressed her hand, forge warm, calloused, the hand that had broken his curse, over his heart. He pressed his hand over hers. The pack bond surged, different than a wolf claiming, not supernatural, not fated, something new, something that had never been done before, something forged. Callum knelt first, beta endorsement, his eyes bright, then the warriors, one by one, then the elders, even Torval, who'd questioned her competence, went to his knees. A wolfless Luna, unprecedented. The old rules didn't cover this. They'd write new ones. Weeks later, the forge ran day and night. Briar had taken an apprentice, the 16-year-old boy she'd saved, who wanted to learn silver-safe smithing. He was terrible at it. She was terrible at teaching. They'd figure it out. Rhys shifted freely now, his wolf joyful, powerful, no pain. He ran the high ridges at dawn and returned to the forge by breakfast. Tracked her heartbeat across the compound the way she tracked heat by color. Unconsciously, constantly, like breathing. Their scents had merged. The pack could smell it. Forge smoke and pine resin woven together. Hot metal and mountain stone. Cedar oil and amber. Not separate anymore. Forged into something new. A plate appeared at the forge door. Warm bread, smoked meat, an apple. She ate it this time. Didn't pretend she didn't know who it was from. Briar? The boy, her apprentice, grinning from the doorway. There's food at the forge door. Again. I know who it's from. The Alpha says to tell you that I should eat. I know. I'm eating. Rhys appeared behind the boy, filling the doorway. Wolfish grin. Morning sun on his face. No silver lines. No pain. Just him. Good morning, Luna. She threw a rag at him. He caught it, still grinning. I forge everything. Don't make it weird. Her voice cracked on weird. Eyes bright. He heard it. She heard it. The boy pretended not to hear it. Evening. The forge glowed orange against black mountain stone. Sparks rose like fireflies. Briar worked. The rhythmic hammer, her howl, same as always. But tonight, a wolf lay at the forge door. Massive, dark, peaceful, watching her with gold eyes. His tail thumped once when she glanced at him. You're in my doorway. Thump. I'm not moving the anvil. Thump, thump. She went back to hammering. He stayed. The moon rose over Iron Hollow. Full, bright, no longer a threat. Just a moon. Just a forge. Just a wolfless woman and the Alpha who knelt for her, building something that had never existed before. A life forged from fire and choice, and the stubborn belief that human hands can hold anything, even a wolf's heart.